Hi, I'm Tracy, VE3TWM. Thank you for tuning in to Outdoors on the Air. In a recent video, I showed off using the Comet magnet mount along with a SO239 connector and an adapter to accommodate a hamstick. And putting this on top of my Subaru Outback, I found something very interesting, that I was not able to bring a couple of different hamsticks into resonance. I pondered this after putting together the last video. I've come up with some information that I think you're going to find very interesting. I know I did. So what I found when I was out on that earlier occasion was that a 10-meter hamstick and a 40-meter hamstick were both resonant several hundred kilohertz higher than I expected them to be. And in the case of the 10-meter, it was nearly 2 megahertz higher than I expected it to be. And all this got me to thinking. Now, one of the hamsticks was brand new, so I thought, well, could it be a manufacturing defect right out of the box? The other one was 20 plus years old. I hadn't used it, been sitting in my garage for years. I actually, after the video, started to think about it. I thought, you know what? I believe I trimmed the metal stinger to suit a particular use case, and I was wondering if I had cut it too short when I took a look at the fact that it was resonating up around 7,500 kilohertz. So I did a couple of things following that video. I went out and I bought some more hamsticks. I bought one for 15 meters, one for 20 meters, another one for 40 meters, and one for 80 meters. I then proceeded to come out here to a local park a couple of days ago, and with the help of my friend VA3MRB Mike, we did a little bit of testing, and what we found was that if we tuned the hamstick for its lowest resonance on my car and then transferred the magnet mount over to his Hyundai SUV, by putting the magnet mount on the hood of his vehicle, the hamsticks were now within resonance inside the band, where mine were still showing resonance markedly north of the band. So after some back and forth, we quickly realized, what's the common denominator? It's the roof of this Subaru Outback. So let me show you a little bit about this, about what I've got going on with the Outback here, and then we'll work from there. Okay, here's a look at the roof of the Outback. I'm kind of in handheld mode now. I'm going to try to keep this fairly still. There are two features on the roof here that many of you in your vehicles might not have. Number one is towards the front, and we're looking towards the front from the left rear, is a sunroof. Secondarily, I've got roof racks. These rails along the edge here, and they've got swing arms that come out to provide a luggage rack for additional cargo storage. So when I got home after the initial puzzlement situation where I was getting the hamsticks resonating quite a bit higher than the actual band, and that was the minimum I could get them to. I couldn't get them to resonate within the band. I did some research. I'm the kind of guy, when I come across something like this, I want to dig into it and I want to try to understand what's going on. So I did a bunch of research into hamsticks, and it has been years since I'd played around with these things. One of the things that I came across is apparently proximity to sunroofs can cause the resonant point to be affected. And then I started to think about the roof rails. Well, you've got some metal in the near field. Now, when I first put up this magnet mount, I figured, you know, the antenna is up above the roof rails. It shouldn't have any detrimental effect on the SWR. But I think I was wrong. And so I did some testing yesterday with my friend Mike, as previously mentioned. And I started to move the magnet mount around on the roof of the vehicle. Well, let's take a look at the kind of results that I got. Okay, here's the initial position, and this is the position that I had the magnet mount on when I was out with my previous video and I was running into the situation. So as you might be able to see from the image here, the Hamstick is about midway back between the sunroof, and I'll just go point out the sunroof. So the sunroof comes out to about here, and here's the Hamstick and the magnet mount. And yesterday when I was out with Mike, I set the Hamstick for the minimum resonance. And let's take a look at what I got. I'm just going to run the analyzer here. And here you can see a minimum of, hopefully you can see that on the screen. I'm having some trouble in the light here. That's a minimum of 1.46 at 30.875 kilohertz. So well high of the north end of the 2 meter band, sorry, the 10 meter band. Okay, I've just moved the antenna. Let me reposition the camera here. And it's now on the back left corner. So here's my analyzer again. Let's repeat the scan, see what we end up with. Minimum of 1.69 at 30.975. Notice that the resonant point has changed. Okay, now I am at the right rear corner of the top of the roof. Let's see what we get on the analyzer. We've now dropped 200 kilohertz from the the left rear. We're at a minimum of 1.67 to 1. Interesting, but let's continue. Okay, situated now midway along the right side, adjacent to the roof rail. Let's see what the analyzer scan gives us. So we've dropped to a minimum 1.37 at 30.575. Now the Hamstick is up near the front right, adjacent to both the roof rail and the sunroof. Let's see what we get. Minimum 1.32 at 30325. Well, isn't that interesting? Continuing along, I have now repositioned the magnet mount and Hamstick to midway across the roof, adjacent to the sunroof. And what do we get when we do the analyzer? Minimum 1.31 at 3625, so it's actually gone back up. Okay, now I've got the magnet mount situated approximately midway between the sunroof and the rear, and between the rails, the midway point between the roof rails on either side. Let's see what we get on the analyzer. And we've gone back up to 30.975, minimum 1.44. Okay, one more test. This time I've adopted the rhinoceros model and stuck the magnet mount on the plate in front of the sunroof. Yeah, it's at a crazy angle, but I'm just curious. We're doing the test. Let's take a look and see what happens. So pulling out the analyzer. Would you look at that? Minimum 1.28 at 29,825. That is the closest we've come to the top end of the 10-meter band. So this is all very interesting stuff to me. What I'm learning is that basically the roof of this Subaru Outback, and I think I can probably extrapolate to other SUVs which have roof racks and or sunroofs, may not be the best platform for a Hamstick. It's detuning them to a certain extent. Now I did go home and I puzzled over this a little bit after getting together with Mike, VA3MRB, and I came up with an idea. Let me show you what I came up with. Many years ago when I was messing around with Hamsticks for the first time, I bought one of these. This is a heavy-duty spring that typically gets used with 9-foot whips that people used to mount on the rear bumper of their cars back when cars had real rear bumpers and they could withstand the weight and the bulk and all the rest of it. I had this kicking around and I thought, you know, I wonder if this, just adding this to the base of the Hamstick, would lift it up enough to reduce the interaction between the sunroof or the roof rails and hence lower my resonant point. So let's give it a test. Okay, coil has been installed at the base. Let's take a look at the analyzer. What does the analyzer say? We were at 29,825. Let's run it again. Now we're at 29,075 at minimum 1.39. Look at that. Just by adding the coil, giving the base of the Hamstick a little more height, getting it away from what's going on the roof, I've been able to bring the Hamstick down into resonance well within the 10-meter band. So there you have it. The surface on top of your vehicle when you're using Hamsticks with mag mounts is going to play a role in how your antenna performs. Give it some consideration next time. You may find that this information helps you going forward. I sure hope that it does. Hey, if you've got comments about this particular phenomenon, if you've run into similar things you'd like to share with the group, please leave it below. Love to hear everything you folks send back to me, and we're all in this together. So just before we get going, there is a thanks button down below. If you feel like sending me a few bucks to buy me a coffee on a cold day like today, I'd sure appreciate it. Other than that, thanks for watching. Now it's your turn. Get out of the shack, get outdoors, and get on the air. 7-3 from Tracy, VE3 TWM.